How do you say peace in Romanian?
Pace.
Pace?
Pace și înțelegere.
What does that mean?
Means peace and understanding. Peace, pace, înțelegere, respect și iubire. This means peace, understanding, love and I forgot. Peace, understanding, love and whatever, peace again. My name is Angela. I cannot believe I'm in the United States for 39 years. Half of my life in Romania, half of my life here. In one way, not in one way, in both ways. It's good because I brought some good things from there. I did find wonderful things here, and I am keeping both of them, and I enjoy my life, and I am respectful for many things here, and praying for peace, for love and understanding. Without this, well, nothing means anything. Never I was speaking in front of the camera. I feel kind of emotionally embarrassed. I've done work behind the scenes.
Usually on my side.
But, well, my dear friend, she asked me to do that, and I am doing it.
Thank you. Do you want to start from the very beginning, where you were born, how you moved
I was
about?
born in a small city in Romania, from a normal, civilized family with so many problems because I was born in World War II. And I was like a few weeks ago when my mama was covering me in a blanket and trying to protect me against the American bombs. And this is the reason I am so against of any wars. In a war, nobody is winning, everybody is losing, special innocent people, kids, children, animals. I am not pro-Russian, I am not pro-Americans, I am not pro-Ukrainians, I am not I am pro-peace. Peace and understanding. But let's find the way of peace, of compromise. Many things in life we cannot achieve without compromises. But then we were helped by Americans to rebuild our country and to give food. And I remember I was a small kid in a kindergarten and they gave us some free food. And always I kept in my mouth the taste of that food. And never I knew, always I was wondering, what is that taste? What is that taste? And when I got to America, guess what? I discovered that taste. It was peanut butter. I love peanut butter. It's sad, but yeah, I discovered peanut butter, and I eat, not all the time, but I do it very, very frequently.
So in kindergarten you started learning Russian because you're part of the communist system, right?
Yes.
And then
I grew up under the Russians because half of our house were living Russian families. And it was a family without children, and they loved me, and they took me everywhere, and this was probably before in school I started to learn from them Russian, and they took me, they have their specialized stores with everything, included chocolate, included so many wonderful goodies, which we Romanians, we didn't have. We were not poor, but we didn't have. And always when they took me to the stores and they bought me so different things, always I hidden them and I took to my family, and I still have vivid some situation when sometimes I was so pissed off as a kid, seeing how much they have and how little we had in stealing something or and giving to my family friends. And then they left, and I remember they living with so much taken from Romania. And then we were after the war, we were under the communists, under the Russians, in fact, with lots of Russian influence and everything. There were two good things. Everybody had healthcare, not as here, but we had healthcare and schools, and no drugs. We didn't know what's mean a drug, and the discipline, and the uniforms. I remember every month or so our teacher was taking us and being in line and say, you cut it, your uniform is too short, because came that mini, and we were good. They were very strict, and now looking back, I think it was a good, I'm not proposing anything, I'm not saying, this is my experience, whatever, Then I went and I moved to Bucharest and I studied at technical school. And then I was working at the Polytechnical Institute for a few years. Then I got divorced and I married with Dan, and I got involved more in the entertainment business, in television. And always I was more inclined and loved fashion, makeup, skin, beauty. But we didn't have this in our system. You needed to go to have more solid skill to be able to make your living. And then I started thinking I will come to United States. I didn't want to go to school to get differences, to get credits or whatever. And I went for 2 years and I studied skincare, which was I think it was the best idea, because after I came here, I went right away, I took my license and I started to work and to be able to make our living. In Dan's case, a little harder, because entertainment business, it's a tricky, hard business to get into. When we came first time, we went to Detroit, because there I had a good friend. She was an esthetician, and she was my teacher in Romania and good friend.
So you came to Detroit in '83?
In '83, yes, in '83.
Because you did a bunch of, because we were going to the pictures, you did a lot of traveling right before you came here too, right? Because weren't you in like Rome and...
Can you believe in that 3 weeks when we stayed there? We've been to Rome, to Venice, to because what happened, they gave, after 4 years, now going a little bit, after 4 years of waiting for our passport, we couldn't have jobs, because then I was fired, I couldn't work in my place. And then we thanks God, we are very handy, and we started to do tiles, to do some work for our friends, to live in one place, to live in another place, waiting for our papers to be ready to emigrate. I fight it so much to get out of Romania. That could be a book, because so many times I was taken and kept in how do you say, not beaten, but they were scaring me. Why do you want to leave? Why do you want to emigrate? Always I was on this pancart. I on the streets a few times, and every week I was writing 4 or 5. I don't know how do you say in English. Complaining, saying the situation about us.
Like to the local newspaper?
To the government in 3, 4, 5 places. And every in that period for a while I was still working, and every big institution, they have their own FBI, CIA, I don't know who, they know exactly what you are doing and they report, yeah.
Like that Secret Service.
That's a Secret Service, yes. And always the guy, he was a very young Secret Service, and always came, Madam, don't try so many, because they are asking me, why don't you do something? Why don't you leave your Torah? How can I, she's writing, how can I stop her not write? Yeah, this was...
Was it common to isolate people and try to get them to not immigrate? Like, was there something specific to you?
Specific, because it was regarding Deng's family. My father-in-law, he was very famous, university teacher in Romania. My father-in-law, he was allowed to travel because he was invited in France. He got the Palme Academic, which is the highest reward. And they usually, not for me, I was an ordinary, but Dan's family wasn't an ordinary family, and with more background, historical background. And plus I was teaching somebody how to write this kind of
your complaints
to the same places where I was doing, and she was very famous journalist, writer in Romania, and her husband was living in Paris, a teacher at the Sorbonne, and then we've got our approval from United States to be able to get out. Then we needed to get from Romania our passport. They took our citizenship. We weren't anymore, we didn't have any citizenship. It's a brown passport without any citizenship. And in order to get this, we needed to go to the service or to take your passport. And then, oh my God, it's another long story.
I don't mind.
Oh my God. Everybody who is wanted to get out, they have to pay their schools, because we never paid our schools. But now, you are an educated person, okay, give us money, we give you the school. How can you give thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars? Yeah, and I was scared, and then I started.
Wait, so basically because they gave you free schooling, when you left, they wanted you to give the money back for that?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And it was impossible.
Right.
And then I was scared and desperate, and in one day I was following a guy from the passport service in my car. And the guy saw me following. Finally, he stopped very close to a big park in Bucharest. And he came out of the car and he came to my window and said, "What is wrong, woman? What do you want from me?" And I started to tell him, "My name is Tata, we have the pet, Tata. I don't want you to tell me anything except knowing my name. Please, I beg you, I want to know if we are in that part, do we have to pay, because it was a period of time when from that time, they will not pay the money for the school, or you will pay them." That was my... Said, "I am crazy, go away, Then I was so desperate, another week or so, again I was following him. And finally, I think I followed him 1 or 2 times more, and finally he came and said, "Do you know why?" "No, you are not. This means you will not pay. You will not pay." I didn't need anything else, but in that day when we went to pick up our passport from the consulate to passport consulate, a guy who I knew him. He was not that young guy, but another super, the
Secret Service?
Secret Service, came and said, "Can you follow me?" And I said, "What is it?" And then, "No, he can stay here, just you." And took me to the general, I forgot his name, Genoi. Hey, Romanian, if you hear me, you'll know who was the General Genoiu, the chief of the passport in my time. And he said, "Sit down," and it was another couch with somebody else, another person. And he asked me, "Why did you teach that writer
The journalist?
to teach her to do this, to do that, to do that, to do that?" Like I was doing my weekly, going in that 3 places to, and so many other things asked me. And finally he wanted to scare me. And then he said, the door was opening, and I saw the guy who told me, you will not pay. You know, the guy who
you followed a couple times.
Yeah. I froze. I knew they know everything. They followed me everywhere. And in that time I said, "But it's not his fault. He didn't tell me anything. Just I was desperate and I was following him, but he didn't tell me anything." And always it was, after we left, always I thought in my mind, if something happened to that guy. He couldn't keep me any longer there, because in one time I said, "No, I'm here for more than an hour. Well, you cannot put me in prison because I taught her, the lady, what to do, or you know everything." They knew every call. Our phone, they were tapped. They knew every move, what we've done. And then we decided not to fly. We took the train from Bucharest to Vienna, and then we went to Rome, and then we came and we flew to Detroit, where my friend was waiting for me. And I remember she took us in her house, and it was in a small room. There were two small beds, one near the window and another near the wall. And I was sleeping near the window, and it was raining so heavy. I was crying all night long. Crying, knowing you coming in new, everything strange, everything thinking. Yeah. And then little by little, my friend helped me with some English, and then we go to school. In that period, she could translate for you, because she was Romanian. And then I took my license, and I went for a few months in Indiana. That we talked about the
South Bend, where the
Southern
theater was?
Indiana, just a few months. And then I knew a friend in Chicago, and then she asked me. She was a very famous singer in Romania, and we knew her very well. And she said, "Come to Chicago." And when we went to Chicago, I said, "Oh, it was winter time." And we saw that beautiful windows in Saks Fifth Avenue. What a beautiful windows from movies. Now you don't see anymore this. No. Paco Rabanne, which is famous, and I love the smell of Paco Rabanne. Always I buy to them the Paco Rabanne perfume. Okay. And she hired me right away to be a represent his skincare discipline in Saks Fifth Avenue. I was there for a year, maybe less. I didn't like it. I'm not a good salesperson. Then I started to have my own studio on Michigan Avenue. When I was opening my studio, then I went for this school for a month in Paris for film fashion makeup. And then I came back, and then somebody from CBS came and we talked about, I've done some work on her. She was one of the producers from the CBS. And she said, do you know why? We need somebody, we don't have a makeup artist at CBS. Come. And they welcomed me with open arms, and for 5 years, more than 5 years, I was.
So was Dan still doing, so he was doing the documentaries while you were working at CBS?
Yes.
And so you were able to help fund those
yeah,
documentaries?
yeah.
Okay.
And I made good, excellent money, and I was able to help to produce the documentaries, to make that Hello Chicago show, which never, somebody told us after we couldn't do anything with the show, said you never put your money in a film industry or in a restaurant industry. And guess what? We've done both. And we've lost in both. And in fact, for the documentary after our revolution, I was started to fall the Berlin Wall, the revolution in Eastern Europe, and all the people from CBS, they knew I am a Romanian, and they were waiting. We were the last one. And finally, for the Romanian Revolution, I took a week off, and we went to Romania and we shot the documentary, and Bill Curtis, he narrated the story.
Oh, you didn't tell me that part. That's cool.
Yeah. I don't remember having a day off everybody was looking, not Romanians, Americans, which Americans sure work a lot more than Europeans, but they were looking at me like for years I didn't have any day off, because being new here and wanted to establish myself, wanted to have my house, wanted to have my things, wanted to be able to integrate more, I worked and worked and worked. It was a good idea, I don't know. I am grateful I was able to do it. I am humbled. I am happy because I leave a little bit, that small seed after me. Because what do you take with you? Nothing. Just a few good words there, or 2 documentaries. And both of them are, the Romanian is produced by Dan, and our friend who is passed away from Montreal, writer, and I was the producer. And the second one, Mircea Eliade, it's produced by me and Dan, and following Mircea Eliade memories, we've done this. And I knew, I've met his wife and we became good friends. Through her, we could go to many famous people. Saul Bellow, you heard about Saul Bellow, a very famous writer. Yeah, he was talking about 15 minutes about Mircea Eliade and their collaboration. Many important, in one day, I will give you to watch the
I would love
documentary. I think I should be proud.
You should be.
Okay, now what else?
Okay, so we haven't talked about Hello Chicago yet.
Then think about then he's a regisseur musical. I don't know how to say in English, regisseur musical. He writes music first.
Composer?
Composer.
Conductor?
Symphony orchestra, you saw some footage, some pictures. But no, he was working for 20 some years in Romanian television as a chief of musical department and engineering and sound and thing, yeah.
So that's how the music for him came in, because you always said he was in TV production, but in my head I was keeping the music separate, but the music was part of what he was doing in that. Okay.
Yeah. You come into America, where is the musical, where is the musical country, Broadway country, and you want to make a musical Broadway show. But what we've done, it was beautiful. How many sets we changed, how many beautiful, gorgeous, I told you, I don't know how many feet. And I saw some Broadway shows, I said, what? I'm sorry.
Well, the sketches you showed me reminds me very much of the old, like, 20s Art Deco, very glamorous, beautiful sets and costumes. So, yeah. How did you end up in South Bend for being the theater?
Because I was working in South Bend with skincare for a few months, and we knew the theater, the small theater, and it was very old style, beautiful. At least we've done this to be able to have on the tape, to be able to sell it somehow or to show it to somebody. We didn't sell it to anybody and do it.
So it was called Hello Chicago.
Hello,
so was it
Chicago.
about seeing Chicago for the first time? What was the storyline of it?
Beautiful storyline. And in fact, you know why we wanted to go with this show to Europe? This was our main thing. But before, then he went to Germany, and I don't remember exactly who contacted him, how, what happened. Before you come here to run in United States, because everybody will, you are unknown, but how much money?
Right.
Yes, it was impossible. Then what? Then started another period, very bad period in my life. I achieved, and then we had a restaurant, Café Mignon, in the Marriott Hotel.
And this was early, late 90s, or?
It was 94, 95. I think 95, 90s, yes. And then I was able to secure also the restaurant business, because I was having my CBS, my place on Michigan. I've done WGN show for 4 years. This means I was like crazy, making good money and having additional spending for documentaries, for the restaurant business. And then oh my God. And the restaurant with the Café Mignon, then this was the reason we did open. It was an excellent cook. Very creative, being an artist, exactly like you conduct orchestra, excellent. Oh my God, again, you now talking with you, I remember, little by little, I remember And then, the chefs from upstairs, Marriott, big hotels, they are copying our recipes. Are you serious? Yes, wow. Yes, they are copying. Oh my, funny, sad, but. And then after that, I had started to have my sad period of years. I lost my job at CBS. I closed my studio because our building 520 was an historical building, and for years they were fighting to demolish. It was impossible. They give us a month notice. Where can you go? We were there for 10 years, for more than 10 years. Where can you go, 10, 12 years, to find a place for thousands and thousands of dollars? For what? How can you pay that? And this was the reason we decided after that to move from, yeah. And then, because of this, came like a snowball, and we became bankrupt, then tarara, and I moved here, and I started in 1999, in fact, in 2000.
What made you decide Champaign-Urbana?
I have another daughter, like you. She is Romanian. We met when she was 19.
This is Nicolette?
Nicoletta. Yeah. She was in the same period her mama passed away, and we became good friend. And it started all over again, from nothing. And we saw this house, and we've got somehow, and we legal with somebody helped me for 1 year, and then I took over everything. And I'm here. I'm trying to do my best in my small way. I have good friends, clients, which became friends. And hopefully I will be able, because I enjoy a lot what I am doing, I hope if my health is okay. What does it mean retiring? If you like what you do, and if you are healthy, sure, now I don't work as much as before, and I take, but now I am a caregiver, and that is another story I don't want to talk about. But life. I am a spiritual person. I believe in a power. I pray in my way. I'm not joining any religious. I was born Orthodox, but I'm never give 1 cent to any churches, because I don't believe in organized religion. I give to whatever, dogs, kids. If I see somebody, neighbor, I go and I am praying in my way for peace. Like I started this interview, I want to finish it, peace, because it's sad. It's sad. I feel sorry for the kids, for the animals. They don't have a voice, they cannot choose, but we humans, we can choose, and what we are doing, we are destroying each other. For what?